episode 46 of Meet the GIMP. My name is Rolf Steinort and I'm recording this in Bremen, northern Germany. If you go to the website meetthegimp.org, you'll find the blog, and on the right side in the sidebar the latest videos, the recent comments. There's nearly to every show a lively discussion and new John Paston's free music. These are links to some of the MP3 files John, who has made the music you're just hearing, has made available. Check them out. I like most of them very much. There's another thing you can do when you're here. Consider to subscribe to the video, to the podcast. You can do this either with iTunes, if you belong to the about third of the people who use iTunes with Mac or with Windows, or you can use Miro, a very good open source internet TV, and you can also use this RSS feed, which works in Firefox or other programs. The good thing for you is you get each show fresh on the table when it's published. The good thing for me is my subscriber numbers. They are a bit of value counter for podcasts. And, well, 2,000 subscribers is very good. But if you look at the download numbers, 6,000 and up, well, they could be a little bit higher. So if you are not subscribed but download this by hand, just consider to subscribe to the video. In this show, I'll recap a bit of episode 44. There I have multiplied myself. Now, one of the first questions I ever got about this show was how to get rid of people. And this show is the answer. When the last episode of Meet the GIMP hit the servers, I was in Hanover visiting an exhibition of works from Helen Levitt. Helen Levitt is I think not famous enough street photographer from New York, and she made wonderful black and white images and stunning color images of street life. Very recommended. If you can manage it up to 25th of May to Hanover, just go into the show. If you can't manage it, the catalog is wonderful. I'll put a link to it in the show notes. Just in front of the exhibition I made this shot here. And don't ask me why, this is just an example. I want to get rid of this car and this car here. Well, I just could crop this shot perhaps in such a way and get a meaningful image, but well, this is an example. I made several shots of this scene, and I want to use a technique I showed you 2 shows ago, where I made multiple copies of myself. And this time I want to remove something out of the image here. This was mentioned in the comments on the blog. You can look there. And I want to use a different technique. So first I need a second image, and I choose this one here. You see here there are 2 cars in the middle, in the center, and this area and this area where the 2 other cars were is free. The runner isn't here in 2. So with using this one and the other one, I can get rid of the cars, and I could get rid also of the runner too. I want to use the image with the runner as my base image. So this should be the top layer, and this here should be on the bottom. And I can just put this to the bottom with the arrow here. So this is my top image, that's the bottom image. And when I just go down with the opacity on my top layer here, you see the image is moved. I have moved the camera. This was with my little point and shoot. And I have rotated the camera between the shots. Both could have been avoided with using a tripod, but I made it because I wanted to show you how to cope with this. You can do these kinds of shots just on the spot. So, first step is I have to move the image, the top image, so that at least one point is the same in both images. And therefore I chose a point in the center, just zoom in. Well, we can go to 100% then. And I want to use a point near the center of the image as a reference. And I choose, well, let's choose here this edge of the poster in the window. Now I just drag my guidelines over here so that they cross at this corner. Just a little bit lower. So the corner of the poster fits snugly into this crosshair. I make the top visible again, use the move tool, and just move this along until the corner fits again into this edge. And I can fine-tune this by using the arrow keys. I think this should work. This should work. And, well, you see. Now I have only to find the rotation. For correcting the rotation, I use the rotate tool. But, well, if you think you could do it with opacity slid down here and then just rotate the image, no luck, because in the moment you rotate, the opacity is set to 100%. So we have to use a second guideline pair as a point of reference. I make the top layer invisible again, go over here, and here's another poster. I choose this edge of the poster of our local radio station, and, well, this fits. Make the top layer visible again. It's selected. I select the rotation tool. I select normal or forward rotation. Interpolation is for this image, is okay. I select preview the image, not a grid, because I want to rotate the image, and I just go. So I click into the image and rotate it until I am there on the spot. Well, it looks a bit off. We'll check that in a moment. So I rotate the image. Okay. Now let's check. The critical area is here around the car. And I go back to my layer here, and, well, you see there's a little bit of a movement between this pillar here and here, but I think this will work. We can correct that a bit later. And on the other side, where this car is, this is worse. But, well, I'll look into this. While trying, I got a better result. I forgot something. Okay. Control Z is your friend. Mine in this case. I just have undone my rotation. So, where was my mistake? I haven't set the center of rotation to this point. So let's redo this. My top layer is visible, yes, and this is fitting. And now I click on rotate. And you see here, hidden by the dialog, this crosshair. And this crosshair is the center of rotation. And I have to line this up with my guidelines. Now the image will rotate around this here. So let's do that. Let's look at the second crosshair here, and oh no, we are not in the right crosshair here. We are in the right crosshair here. Now I just pull this up and you see it fits way better now. And I click on rotate. I keep this arrow in. I just could cut it out, but I'll keep it in. So now checking, and you see a little movement, but nothing to worry about. So this movement was perhaps by tilting the camera and so on. So okay, now we have two images. Register it. They are in the center. They are really on top of each other, and you see here different lighting a bit. Therefore, if you shoot such series and you can set your camera to manual exposure, just do it. This was done on fully automatic. Okay, before I get rid of the cars, there's one thing to do, and that is remove these guidelines, and there is the menu point for that: image and guides, remove all guides. Removing the cars. Therefore, I want to use a layer mask, and well, I could just erase the cars and then be done with that. But I want to show you a different technique, a technique that, for example, Simon has used in his multiple exposure of himself. I showed you the image in the video. So I just add a layer mask, and I add a layer mask in white. White means full opacity. This image will be fully visible. Black would mean the image would vanish. And now I check if the layer mask is selected. It is. Here, there's a white border around it. You see now the border is black. When I would paint now, I would paint on the image. Now I would paint on the layer mask. Select a paintbrush. Check if the mode is to normal. Check my size of this, and fuzzy is okay too. Go into the image at 100%. Select my car, and now I start to paint with, let's check the colors first here. I paint with black on my white layer mask. And you see, I'm not painting the image black, but I am hiding the car. Let me check this here. Opacity 100, yes. This is a little bit problematic, but I just paint down until I reach the grass here, and it's gone. And this works good. If you are looking for evidence, you would find here a slight corner, but nobody will look at that fine. So let's go over to the other car and just do the same. Works too. This arrow here is a bit larger. Just let me paint up to the corner. Now it's okay. And if we look at our layer mask now here. Let me just show you the layer mask. Then you see here it is black here, and if I want to correct the thing about that, I can just paint white over it and it would be visible again. If I had erased this stuff, it would have been gone. So unshow the layer mask, and just let me show you this. I switch to white paint and just paint over here. You see there's a car. I switch to black and the car is gone. This is a great technique for hiding stuff in images, and a friend of me just recommended for wedding photographers to shoot an image of the background for the formal portraits before shooting the bride and groom, because then you can sell them a divorce image with one of them removed. Okay, this was a little bit sarcastic. What's else to do with this image? If I wanted to make this into a real image, I would first rotate it. For that, I chain these two layers together, check that I'm working on the image and not on the layer mask, go to the rotate tool, check my options for corrective and grid, click into the image and align my grid. Well, let's zoom into that. Align my grid with a known vertical. I think this here is vertical. Street lamps tend to be, if they haven't been hit by a lorry or so. So let's check. Well, yes, this works. So now click on rotate and wait. You see the rotating bar here runs 3 times. Well, 1 time for each layer and 1 time for the layer mask. And if I hadn't chained these 2 layers, the bottom wouldn't have been rotated. So let's check this, if the image is still okay here. Yes, it is. I make the car visible. You see, it's so good. I just missed the car here. You see what I have forgotten? I have forgotten to paint away the shadow here of the car. And there's a bit of shadow here on the wall. Okay, I won't fix that now. Well, why not? Just painting over it. It's like this famous foot of Trotsky and the image after Stalin had him killed first and then second removed out of all the books. There, in one of the images they changed with paint and other stuff on the negatives. There was his foot left in the image. So this was very treacherous. Okay, back to the full zoom, and the second step would be making a sensible crop out of this image. And well, let's start here. I have set some option here. Yes, fixed aspect ratio. I just undo that. Keep in the tree over there. Well, and somewhere here this shadow can balance this a bit. This would be a nice crop. I just click into it, and okay, the image is finished. I'll put both of the JPEGs and sized down version of this XCF file into the usual place on the server. Just an afterthought. After doing all this recording, I found the real thing to do with this image. And this is this here. Just remove the runner by painting black on the layer and just keep one of his feet in, or just his shadow. Well, this deserves a little bit more fine-tuning here. Smaller paintbrush and a little bit opacity, and zooming in on the foot. You see here, there's some work to do still. Just make it a little bit ghosty here. Well, you see, you can actually have a lot of fun with this stuff. I think this is it. A little bit of tonal difference here between the shots. I can change that too by taking the curves tool to the bottom layer. Here the curves, and just pulling them up a little bit. This is better. Okay, and that was it. Let me recap this. If you want to combine a stack of images showing the same subject, you need first to properly register these images. You do that by moving them so that they share a common point somewhere in the center of the image. And then you have to rotate all the images, except for your base image, around this shared point. You can use crosshairs made out of the guides for making your reference points. And then you add layer masks to the layers where you want to have a hole in. You choose a white layer mask because white keeps all the stuff in the image. And then you paint in black on the layer mask where you want the stuff to be hidden. If you paint not in black but in gray, you get a ghosty image, partly hidden. I think a look at our photo group at 23hq.com is suitable this week, because here is a very good image made by a friend of me, Jyoti, who has hit himself heavily. Well, we plan to play billiard next week, so I hope he has healed then. Well, let's look at the next image here. I think I know the source for this outbreak of violence. Just look at this here. If you make images with GIMP, just get them into the photo group at 23. And I think this was it for this week. And I say goodbye.
photocastnetwork.com, your photography resource in the potosphere. photocastnetwork.com